Get ready for the ultimate adventure as we dive into the hidden world of Mount Everest. This mountain giant, stretching an incredible 29,000 feet high, is a treasure trove of mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Every year, hundreds of brave climbers attempt to reach its summit, but what they face goes far beyond icy storms and treacherous drops. Think secrets hidden beneath the snow and rock. From Sir Edmund Hillary's groundbreaking climb in '53 to the British Empire's early attempts to claim this third pole peak, we're about to spill the fascinating story of Mount Everest's most unbelievable discoveries and the shocking truth behind them. Meet George Mallory, a seasoned climbing sensation with sights on Everest's top spot. In 1921, he was part of an epic mission mapping out the mountain's terrain, laying down vital info for future adventurers. But Mallory had his eyes on the prize to be the first to conquer this mighty peak. A year later, in a bold move, he led a historic ascent up Everest's north face, pushing the limits and reaching 27,300 feet, an awe-inspiring feat that would echo through climbing history. However, when they hit the unforgiving death zone, a treacherous region above 26,000 feet, where the air is thin and survival becomes a daily struggle, Mallory and his team knew it was time to turn back and live to climb another day. You've heard of the death zone, a haunting name that sends shivers down even the bravest climbers' spines. It's earned its reputation as the most treacherous part of Everest, where the air is razor thin and danger lurks around every corner. George Mallory's 1922 expedition was one of the first to venture into this unforgiving realm, using bottled oxygen to help them push through the thin atmosphere. But despite their groundbreaking achievement, reaching an incredible 27,300 feet, a record at the time, they weren't able to conquer the summit. The death zone had other plans, and Mallory's team wisely chose survival over glory. Their daring attempt would forever change the landscape of high-altitude climbing. Fast forward to 1924, the British were back for another crack at the top of Everest. Lieutenant General Edward Norton led the charge, reaching an incredible 28,126 feet on June 4th. But just 3 days later, George Mallory was gearing up for round two. He'd team up with a surprising partner, as the original leader Charles Bruce had fallen ill at the last minute. With Norton taking on a supporting role, Mallory and his new partner were about to embark on a historic attempt that would leave everyone wondering, would they finally stand atop the world? Now we're getting to the moment of truth. On June 6th, George Mallory and his partner Andrew Irvine, a relatively new climber, but a whiz with the gear, joined forces with 8 porters at Base Camp 4. By evening, they'd made it to Camp 5, where Mallory shared some encouraging words: calm weather ahead. That's what he said. The next morning, June 8th, Mallory and Irvine set off early from Camp 5, claiming they hit the rock band at the peak's base by 8 a.m. But here's a twist. Just one day prior, Noel Adele stumbled upon an oxygen cylinder belonging to Irvine with a crucial part missing its mouthpiece. So what happened next? Well, when Noel Adele got word that Mallory and Irvine were making their last push to the top, he and others scanned the horizon, but there was no sign of them. A mysterious mist had rolled in on the northeastern ridge, obscuring everything. As it lifted, around noon, Odell finally spotted the climbers way down below, inching towards the base of the mountain, getting ready for their final climb up. But that's when the trail goes cold. They just vanished. Odell rushed back to their tent at Camp 5 and found a scene of utter chaos. It was torn apart, with no clue as to what happened to Mallory or Irvine. And guess what? For over 80 years, Mallory's body remained hidden on Mount Everest until his remains were finally discovered in 1999. But here's where things get really mind-blowing. Mallory had a personal mission. He brought a photo of his wife and was determined to leave it on top of Mount Everest as proof they made it to the summit. And when his body was found decades later, what's missing? That very same photograph. Now, you're probably wondering, did Mallory and Irvine actually reach the peak nearly 3 decades before Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay became the first ones to conquer Everest? The question is still out there, adding fuel to the mystery. But this isn't just about whether they made it to the top or not. What really happened to these 2 brave climbers remains a chilling enigma. The harsh terrain of Everest holds many more secrets, and we're only just scratching the surface. But here's something that'll give you chills every night. Mount Everest unleashes a terrifying roar, a deafening shriek and crash that sends shivers down even the bravest adventurer's spine. Scientists might say it's just ice shifting due to extreme temperature drops. But those who've actually heard this haunting sound can't help but believe the mountain itself is letting out an angry cry. It's as if Everest has a malevolent presence, like it doesn't take kindly to humans trespassing on its grounds. And then there's Eric Shipton, a seasoned mountaineer with a reputation for pushing limits and tackling the world's most unforgiving peaks, including Everest multiple times. But in 1951, during what should have been a routine climb, he stumbled upon something that would change everything. Fast forward to 1951, when Eric Shipton embarked on an Everest expedition that would shake the mountaineering world. At an astonishing 15,000 feet above sea level, he made a jaw-dropping find: massive footprints etched into the snow, and we're talking seriously massive. According to Dr. Michael Ward, who was part of the team, these enormous prints were at least twice as wide as any human's foot, with toes that looked all wrong, misshapen, and possibly even three-toed instead of five. This mind-blowing discovery left everyone speechless, sparking a million-dollar question: what kind of creature could have left behind such an eerie footprint? These footprints looked eerily human-like, but there was something undeniably off about them. Their enormous size and unusual shape screamed that they belonged to something entirely different from us. If it was a climber, wouldn't you expect to see shoe prints instead of barefoot impressions? And yet, the prints didn't seem to be an animal either. The only explanation that made any sense was that these footprints were left by some bizarre, humanoid creature with an uncanny ability to walk on frosty snow without feeling a thing. Talk about being immune to cold feet. But wait, it gets even stranger. At first glance, you'd think maybe the prints were just random ice depressions. But here's the kicker: there were multiple of them, and they seemed to be marching in perfect straight lines, like some kind of cryptic message from an unknown sender. Shipton and Ward tracked these mysterious footprints for an entire mile before calling it a night, which means our elusive prince was on a mission. It wasn't just wandering aimlessly through the mountains. The more they followed, the more it seemed to point towards the legend of the Yeti. With its direction set like a compass, it was clear that this creature had one destination in mind: somewhere near Menlong Basin's glacier. So, what could be driving this mysterious being? Was it on the hunt, or maybe even looking for something specific? And did it pose a threat to anyone who crossed its path? The Sherpas, locals of the area, have long whispered tales of a lone creature that calls these mountains home. But nothing could have prepared them for evidence like this. Now, could these footprints be the real deal? Concrete proof of the Yeti's existence? Some science skeptics have questioned it, even suggesting it might have been staged as a prank. But what would drive an entire team to go through all that trouble? Shipton and his crew had bigger peaks to conquer, no reason to risk their credibility for a hoax. And let's not forget, Shipton was a respected climber with more than enough renown. He didn't need this discovery to make him famous. The fact that other team members corroborated the find raises some serious questions. What if they really did stumble upon something incredible? But here's the thing: not just Shipton saw something weird about the prints, his entire team vouched for it. Dr. Ward even proposed a theory that these could have been made by Sherpas with some sort of foot deformity, but that still doesn't cover why one would be trekking so high up barefoot. And what about the sheer size of those tracks? Despite years of searching for another explanation, scientists haven't found any concrete alternative. So, what's left to do? Sometimes, the most straightforward answer is indeed the correct one. It's time to seriously consider the possibility that these footprints might actually be from something unexpected. For decades, Sherpas have claimed to have spotted Yetis, and even seasoned mountaineers have shared tales of giant prints on their routes. Now, when you add that incredible photographic evidence from a trusted source to the mix, it's hard not to wonder, could these mysterious creatures be living right here on Everest? Maybe they had something to do with one of history's greatest climbing mysteries: the vanishing act of Mallory and Irvine. Did these super athletes stumble into a Yeti's territory and get caught off guard? Are these animals getting defensive about humans taking over their homes, or is this connection just part of some wild legend? The truth is, we still don't know for sure what caused those footprints or why Mallory and Irvine never returned. It's time to dive deeper into the unknown. Now that we've explored these mind-blowing mysteries together, it's your turn. What do you think is behind those eerie footprints and the enduring disappearance of Mallory and Irvine? Let us know in the comments below. We can't wait to hear your theories. If you found this video as captivating as we did, hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing for more enthralling content that's guaranteed to spark your curiosity. We're constantly working on new videos, so stay tuned for even more mind-bending adventures.